What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast. And my amazing guest today, all the way from Newfoundland, Canada, right? Did I get that right? Or was
New
that something else we were
Brunswick.
talking about? New
New Brunswick.
Brunswick. It
You're
was
close.
it was
Yeah, New
one of those
Brunswick.
new places in Canada.
It's a new place. Yeah.
From New Brunswick is my new friend, David Hunter. Hello, David Hunter.
Hey, Gary. It's awesome to be here.
Oh, we're going to have some fun, but we're going to educate some people on some
Yeah.
awesome stuff. So I'm going to read your bio real quick so everyone knows what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Guys, we have David Hunter. David is the founder of Global Phytoplankton, one of the leading companies bringing marine phytoplankton to human and animal wellness. David's journey began nearly 2 decades ago when he discovered the extraordinary potential of the ocean's tiniest plants, phytoplankton, to impact health, sustainability, and even the way we think about nutrition. He's here to share how those microscopic organisms, responsible for producing much of the world's oxygen and fueling the marine food chain, can also play a powerful role in human vitality as the first source of nutrition for our cellular health. And wow, is that a crucial little creature. But David, I promise I'll shut up in a second, but we're the What If You Could podcast. So I always ask my guest, Mr. David Hunter, what is your what if you could?
Yeah. Well, my what if I could, or what if I could, is I definitely would like to let the world know about marine phytoplankton and what it does. Is like I think if I could just disseminate, what this is and what it can do, I really believe that it would transform health and wellness all around the world. And the reason being is that everybody would have a choice to put the foundation of nutrition into their body and go from there. And it's really, I think the driving force is I watched my mom die of cancer in 1993. And I really believe that her death, the root cause of it was diet and just misinformation about what is healthy and what's not healthy. And, once and I just kind of grew up thinking that either foods make you fat or they don't make you fat, not thinking about, if is there nutrition in here for, health, like for health and vitality? Like, is this good for my organs? Is this good for my heart? Is this good for my blood pressure? Whatever that might be. And, after, watching that event, and then being exposed to marine phytoplankton and have an absolute life-changing health, like for the better. Like my health completely changed. I went from a very obese, unhealthy person in my early 30s to now being 52, zero medication, proper weight, proper blood pressure, everything's totally fine. And yeah, and just, I have a foundation, right? So that my what if I could is definitely, what this isn't like this is beyond to me marine phytoplankton what we're talking about. It's beyond a sales pitch. And it's something that can profoundly change the course of not only of a human being, but also even a pet. And obviously every living creature in the ocean is fueled by the origin source of their fuel and their vitality and their nutrition is marine phytoplankton. And it's this invisible plant that floats on the surface of the ocean that is completely overlooked, probably for the main reason that we can't see it. But it's, just
Yeah.
like music. We can't see that either, but we know it's there.
Wow, I've never thought about that. You don't see music. You hear it and you feel it, but you don't see it. That's kind of a
That's
trip. I never even thought of it that way. But
right.
God, you opened up so many things there. I mean, I've been a health nut. We used to call it health nut, um, for my entire life. I believe 1,000%. I lost my dad to a heart attack when I was 30. And even before that, I was a health nut. But that's when I really turned it up. I said, I'm not going to die of a heart attack, right?
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
like you said, I mean, big ag, the pharmaceutical companies, the media, they all said, don't eat eggs or you're going to die. Don't eat butter, try margarine. Eat fake meat, not real meat.
Yeah.
Um, and they've poisoned us this way. But
Yeah.
even more than that, I want to get into that. But I mean, photoplankton
Yeah.
really is like the foundation of life. I mean, it really is. I mean, it gives us oxygen. It feeds our oceans. It helps our oceans. It feeds all the creatures in the ocean, which help clear the ocean. It's really a miraculous, tiny little microcosm, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it is what, just to give people some context, it's a plant and it's the first plant. And so when the sun penetrates the surface of the ocean, the combination of the sunlight and the ocean water can create a plant life that is one third the size of a blood cell. And it's basically immaculate conception, really, because there's no, I mean, you can debate if the ray of the sun is the seed and the ocean is the womb and, blah, blah, blah. But like, really, this plant life literally just pops out of nowhere. And inside that plant, I mean, if that happened in a big scale, we'd all be freaking out if, like, things were like 5 feet in circumference and they would just pop out of nowhere when the sun came out. We'd be absolutely freaking out, right? But because it happens in the micro, like,
Yeah.
it's just there and we can't see it. But like, so inside that plant, so inside this plant that pops out of nowhere, that is the most abundant plant in the world, is calcium, magnesium, selenium, riboflavin, potassium, omega 3s, omega 6s, like, you know, that like basically everything that you can think of in nutrition is in this plant in its microscopic form, which is universal. So I didn't so when we talk about phytoplankton and all that stuff, I didn't create it. I was just a guy who was there when it was discovered and watched some miraculous healings unfold and then said, "Well, hey, like why is this not in the why is this not in the dietary supplement industry?" And here I am 20 years later, and I'm still the pioneer of it.
Well,
So,
that's a question that comes to my mind. I mean, why has this been overlooked forever? I mean, everyone as a child, even the food chain. We'd have as a youngest child, you see the books of here's this little fish eating this little bigger fish that eating by a bigger fish. I mean, we get that and we understand. You go down to the ocean and you see all the life, the seashells and everything like that. Why has this been overlooked forever since it's been around since the beginning of
it,
time?
yeah, you know
Why?
what? That's a really good question. I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out. It's one of those things is like I think sometimes in humanity, the simplest things are overlooked, right? Everybody's kind of like
The most
looking
obvious
over
things
here up
sometimes.
in the sky,
Yeah.
but like maybe they're looking in the wrong direction kind of thing, or like it's overthought, or you know what? I'm still don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. It's and even still too, like, I'm in the now through this discovery, and I didn't want to be in it or whatever. I guess I was chosen to be the steward of this thing because, like I said, I discovered it in 2005, and I'm still the pioneer. And here I am, like now have inserted myself into the dietary supplement ingredient. I just came from like the biggest trade show in the industry, which was in Las Vegas at the end of October, and it's still unknown, you know. And so my job, I find, is, or I think what has been bestowed upon me anyway, and we'll see what happens. I'm just accepting, is that am I just the guy who takes it so then it becomes more common knowledge? is my business going to be like what we call in Canada, the hockey stick curve, which I think is also in the States, where you do this, this,
Yeah.
this, and this, and this, and this, and then some
Boom.
celebrity or somebody gets a hold of it, they take it, they have a miraculous healing, and then all of a sudden it goes straight up, and then I manage this discovery like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that, we sold it in Canada very successfully with like over 3,000 pharmacies, national listing in Costco. So this isn't just like some new thing. I mean, it's new in the United States, but not in Canada. And when we were dealing with the accountants, we had the best reorder rate, um, and repeat customer rate and lifetime customer value rate that they ever saw, like times
Yeah.
30. Like it wasn't
Wow.
even close. So then, why does that happen, right? Well, at the end of the day, people vote with their wallet. And then if they take basically the real short answer is to it is why this is significant is if a person is sick and the root cause of the sickness is a malnourishment in some way or form and they don't know what it is, and then they take marine phytoplankton and now they actually receive the nutrition that they're missing in its pure original form, the body can heal itself. And I'll give you an example. Even if you were like a NASCAR level mechanic, okay, the best NASCAR mechanic in the world. So that NASCAR mechanic resembles our body, okay? And it's the best. If you gave that NASCAR mechanic a pair of vice grips and told him to take the tire off the car, it isn't going to happen. Even if he's the best, if he doesn't have the right tool. But if you give him an impact gun, an air compressed impact gun, he has that tire off and on the car in less than 5 seconds,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's just really that simple is that, obviously, like you said, like with the food supply, I mean, and that's a whole rabbit hole down itself, right? Like, you know, we have like, I mean, it's no big secret. The soils are depleted. There's the fertilizers, the pesticides, 35 ingredients in a loaf of bread on the shelf, right? The parents want to give their kids like, crackers and cheese from a plastic thing, like to make them, happy or whatever. And they do that out of love and everything, but indirectly they don't even know it, but they're poisoning their children. And then they're also creating these neuroexciters that give them a reward mechanism. Hey, for crying out loud, you're giving a 2-year-old birthday cake, like 30 grams of sugar and like and it's out of love, and that's the generation that I grew up in. I was born in 73 and like, I remember my birthday, my mom making me this beautiful Superman, birthday cake, with potato chips and like all this other stuff. I mean,
And
just
soda, chasing it down with soda.
chasing it down with a soda pop. Like, I mean, hey, I love my mom. She was the greatest. But like, they just didn't know, right? Like,
They didn't
and
know.
but then now it's carried it on. And then, you have these habits and then and now as an adult, like before I kind of got into the thing that you're talking about, like, you know, have the white bread and with the processed cheese, you know, it like with jam
With the
with
fake
was got
meat.
like 15 tablespoons of sugar, and then I'm going to the doctor going, Doc, like, why am I so tired all the time? I'm
And
so tired.
he doesn't ask about your diet. He just says, "Oh, you're tired. Here's a pill." And it's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, now you're
they
too
said
tired. Here's another pill." And now your stomach
absolutely.
hurts
They
and
said,
here's another pill.
yeah, I have hypothyroidism and send me to a sleep clinic
Yeah.
because I might have sleep apnea.
Yeah, but don't ask about my diet. Whatever you do,
No,
doctor, don't ask
yeah,
about my diet.
no, because if he would have found out that I was a latchkey kid and I had popcorn for breakfast, like, stuff out of stuff out of a can or a box, right?
Yeah.
Like I probably had 200 carbs, Gary, before lunchtime.
Yeah. And
You know what I
they
mean?
weren't good. They weren't good carbs either. It wasn't like you were
No,
broccoli carbs
no.
and
I
like
mean,
that.
this is the whole thing. But so then, like, and that's the whole thing. And then, so now your body is like trying to recalibrate every time you try to poison it. And then, like, then you deplete yourself of all these essential nutrients. Never mind, you're not even getting the nutrients in your food to begin with. Right?
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. Like, this is the vice grips on the NASCAR mechanic thing, right? Like,
Yeah,
and
and
then your body
that's
starts
why I
to,
love the that how they use the word fortified on all the boxes of crap, right? It's like we depleted all the crap from this stuff that you're going to eat, but don't worry, we've refortified it with more fake crap.
yeah, with fake nutrients, probably from China that they get for $2 a kilogram.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
well, why don't you just leave it the way it is? You don't have to refortify it.
yeah. Like, well, what
But
a concept! What a
I'm
concept!
curious about the conference you went to and about nutrition. I've been taking a lot of supplements forever, and
Yeah,
I love the direction that supplements are going, right? We're
yeah,
moving more and more away from just it's vitamin C from China, right? And
yeah.
more supplement people are looking for natural sources of supplements. And I think that's a
100%.
huge shift, and I love it. Of course, you look at it and you go, well, God, that's like $100. I'm not going to buy that. I'll buy the one next to it for 8.95 because
Yeah,
it's less expensive. You go, dude, why buy that crap at all? It's garbage.
yeah,
So I love that what you're doing is taking a natural source of something that's truly healthy for you
yeah.
and bringing it to the market. But I thought to myself that maybe the reason no one else is doing that, it's got to be hugely expensive. It's got to be, I mean, it's got to be outrageously challenging to get enough of this stuff, right? I mean,
Yeah,
no one wants
yeah.
to really make that kind of investment, I would imagine.
No, well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was very profound. Yeah, so the thing is yeah, like, not only are we the pioneers, but it's also not a commodity and it's hard to grow. So the biggest challenge, and you hit the nail right on the head, is that the average kilogram price for a dietary ingredient is probably around 75, $80, right? Whether it's a vitamin C, a selenium, a CoQ10, whatever it is, right? We're $1,200.
Yeah.
So then
Wow.
people see that and they go, whoa, blah, blah, blah. And then the other thing too is that the dietary supplement ingredient really works off in what's called an 8 times markup. So
Yeah.
if you get something for $40, the cost of goods is about $5. And I'm not saying that to slight the industry. It's just because,
Yeah.
if you put it into, you have, your cost of good, then you have to, get it in the warehouse. It's regulated by the FDA, so there's oversight and inventory management and lots and batches, and you got to have a distributor and a broker and a store. There's probably 8 people in between getting it made till the time that it actually gets to your cupboard. Right? So everybody
Yeah.
has to make their piece. It's really part of the food chain of economics. And it's not just dietary ingredients. You could do that
No,
with car tires, with
everything.
books, you know, all that
Yeah.
other stuff, right? So then what
Yeah.
happens to me, like with my product, is that, so say instead of a traditional $5 cost, which most marketers are used to, they're dealing with like a 15, $16 cost. And then it's like, okay, well then how they agree that, oh hey, this is great and all that stuff. So right now is what's happening is that I'm only attracting a certain type of dietary supplement marketer right now,
Right.
right? And so I have my business case like from Canada and from my years in the United States. And so I'm kind of going on the road because I have my own online brand, which, I do really well with and it gets those really good reviews and stuff like that. But that's not my end goal. My end goal is to give it to other dietary supplement marketers that are bigger than me and let them do what they do best. I mean, I'm kind of like the discoverer, the founder. I've developed it. And yes, I have my own small little store that I do. But I think my role is not like to build this big, huge supplement company based on one thing. It's about giving what they call a hero product to a like-minded
Yeah.
dietary supplement marketer that has already that infrastructure. And then where my role is I help them you know, obviously they have, they make money at it, but like also what's more important is that they create a product that gets amazing results, builds trust, creates reorders, um, and makes their clientele healthy and go, wow, you know what? I took Bob's phytoplankton and you know what? Like that's the best stuff around and it made me feel good. And then they trust Bob, so then maybe they're gonna buy his protein shake or his new muscle recovery thing or whatever it is too, right? So,
Yeah.
that's kind
You
of my
know,
role in this.
I talk to people about this all the time, and it drives me insane. So many people like to talk about, well, it's expensive to be healthy. It's just easier to go through a drive-through and get something cheap and shove it down the gullet, and then but everything. I'm like, well, how much is your health worth? Shit, man. I mean, once you get sick, that's when you start valuing your health. But so
Hmm.
yeah, how much is your
Yep.
health worth? But let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit because this is such a fascinating thing. So your story is you're wandering around somewhere and what were you doing when you saw this potential for this? Someone got sick or something and they got healthy and you go, "Oh wow, there might be something to
Yep.
this back in the day." Let's take me back a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So I will take you back a few months before my 30 what would it have been 2005 it would have been a few months before my 32nd birthday. I got called to be a marketing consultant for a shellfish farm in
Mm,
Nanaimo, British Columbia, which is off the west coast of Vancouver, Vancouver Island. A lot of people might have heard of it, just it's north of Seattle. And that's where I'm originally from. And this gentleman that called me had developed marine phytoplankton for shellfish food. So he had a sea farm where he had like different types of fish and shellfish that were destined for restaurants. And the shellfish that he was cultivating, that he was feeding marine phytoplankton to, were 2.5 times bigger than the regular shellfish. And he wanted a way to market it. Now, because he also had mesothelioma cancer, so he was dying of a lung cancer triggered by asbestos exposure.
mm.
Now, as a joke, like literally as a joke, he started to eat the phytoplankton while he was feeding the shellfish. And yeah,
If it's good for them, it's good for me.
his theory is that he likes dulse and it smelled like dulse.
He
And
likes wait, he likes what?
dulse, it's a type of
What is
seaweed.
that?
It's
Oh,
a
okay.
like a specialty seaweed that a lot of people have. Like it's
Okay.
usually dried and it would be like
Yeah.
kind of like nori a little bit like the skin that's on
Mm,
sushi. It's kind of like
yeah.
that, but it's got a little bit of a different flavor. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so he liked that. And so he's eating the phytoplankton while he's feeding it the shellfish, and we're laughing at it. And a couple of weeks later, he goes, "Oh, hey, Dave, I got something to tell you." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, what is it?" And he goes, "I never told you this, but I'm a type 1 diabetic. And like for whatever reason, my blood sugar is completely normal. I'm not even taking my needles. I feel really good." And I was like, "Oh." I said, "Who would ever thought cancer medication would be good for diabetes?" Right? That's what I told him. And so keep in mind, okay, keep in mind, I'm 275 pounds. Never met a vegetable in my life. Right? Soda pop and three sugars in my coffee were my liquids. Never drank water ever, like so I
Yeah.
want to set the stage here, right? And so anyway, so that was kind of my thought. And my mom also too, that I'll even back, my mom was a nurse. And so so she was really in that whole doctor pharma world too,
Mm,
right? So it was kind of like what you said earlier. Like if you got something wrong, you take a pill and you don't question it, blah blah, right? So just I'm setting the stage here, right? She was super
okay.
overweight. I'm grossly overweight. Shocker, you know. And anyway, so this is happening in front of my eyes, right? So he tells me this, right? I'm like, okay, cool. So he had to go in for what is called a talc treatment And it's a operation that they do because the response of the cancer is water going into the lungs. So then you kind of drowned, right? In your and because of the response, right? So they do this operation where they put a talking powder or whatever in your lungs to stop this from happening, and he had this operation all booked. Well, he went in for the operation and he came back like literally the next day and he was supposed to be gone for like a week and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, "Well, they went to go do it and then they found this cotton white substance along the pleural lining of my lungs and they're all confused. They don't know what's going on." And I'm like, "Oh, well, welcome back. Like, what are we doing today?" Right? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's random. Didn't even really think about it. Well, he gets a call from the hospital a few days later, totally confused because there is absolutely zero cancer in this guy's body. Like zero, zero. Like, and they're like going like completely like, what? Like, and he's just like, he goes, "Well, I think it's this phytoplankton, right?" Well, anyway, I don't know how this happened, Gary, and maybe it was divine intervention, but his recovery made the front page of the local newspaper and made the fourth page of the provincial newspaper. That would be like, 4.5 million population getting it on the
Wow.
newspaper, right? That man believes plankton stopped his rare cancer. That was the headline of the front page with him holding
Wow.
up the phytoplankton, right? So I didn't even know that this was going on. Okay. I had no idea. I don't know how this got on the paper or anything, but this is the front page of the paper. I walk into the office. The sales manager is like, Dave, you got to answer the phones. Tom's recovery just made the newspaper. Like, you got to hit the phones. I'm like, okay, what am I doing? Like, I don't like, he goes, just pick up the phone. So
And do
anyway,
what with it? Who am I
yeah,
supposed to call?
exactly, right? Just take notes, I guess. So anyway, so he stuffed me into a different office that was normally not my office. Do you know like those that had the phones and you have like a radio
Yeah.
station? All the lights were on. Okay? Just pick one, right? Unique Sea Farms Dave here. I saw the thing in the paper. Like, I like to get some of that. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. What's your name?" Like, and I was just getting everybody's name. And then so they said, "Well, we're going to give it out for free," right? Because Tom really believed that the phytoplankton helped them, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, so we collected hundreds and hundreds of names, and they all came to this sea farm in the middle of nowhere to pick up this phytoplankton. Okay.
Now, was
So
it liquid? Was it liquid?
at
Was
the
it
time when he
powder?
had it was a paste. It would have been like kind
A
of the similar
paste. Okay.
consistency of ketchup, and it was light green. Okay.
Okay.
We've since, of course, made it more stable, but like,
Yeah.
but we were giving him the same thing that he was feeding to the shellfish. Okay.
Yeah.
So all these hundreds of people come in and they're picking up their phytoplankton, and now I'm like a doctor almost listening to all these people's health stories and what are they called? They were desperate, sad, life-threatening, painful, like, and now I'm like, they always say doctors, the reason why doctors can do so good with things because they're good listeners, you know?
Yeah.
And like, so I'm listening to all of these stories and giving it out and all that stuff, making notes and all this stuff. So two things. So 400 people roughly,
Wow.
even
Wow.
from people from Washington State took the ferry over. I remember meeting some people from Washington. And
That's
so
an amazing amount of people because I mean I think Pfizer tested the COVID vaccine on like 4 people and said, "Oh, it's good to go," right? And so
yeah, exactly.
400 people is actually a lot of people for
Oh,
a random test like that.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. So a couple of things happened. So after the wave of people were gone, I was like, "Give me some of that." And then I ended up started to eat it. Well, Gary, I had an absolute life-changing experience. Life-changing. So keep in mind, again, I was super heavy, never ate vegetables, had the worst diet probably in Canadian history. Okay, I was close. I was close. I was gunning for it. I was gunning for it. Well,
You were
so
looking to
now
be
I'm at
number one. You were going to be
yeah.
the champ.
I was definitely on my way to becoming the champ. And so imagine eating like that for like basically my entire life and then receiving pure nutrition into my body. I'll tell
It
you what
sent you
happened.
into a shock. It sent your body into a shock.
It absolutely did. I'll tell you what. There is a saying that when people die, unhealthy people die, there's about 20 pounds worth of crud in their colon.
Yep.
I
Yep.
will attest to that being true because I was probably almost dead.
Yeah.
And I don't want to
Wow.
give
Yeah.
TMI to your listeners here, but
Go ahead. How much
it's
crap
true.
came flying at you? A
It
lot.
probably about 15 pounds in 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
black and it had stripes in it. It was just disgusting. But
Yeah.
it felt amazing coming out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it
You
was
know,
amazing.
I've tested that on people. I do a crazy shake. I've made this crazy vegetable shake that I've taken that I eat for breakfast like for 40 years, right? And a lot of people go, "Dude, that's gross. Don't even get it near me." But I won't even let you drink this because your diet is so bad that you will feel horrible. You'll have cramps, you'll have stomach ache, you'll be bloated. You will feel horrible if you drink this shake. Now, if you clean yourself up for a couple of days and I give it to you, your system will start working,
Yeah.
right? You'll start cleansing. But if I give it to you now, dude, you'll die because your system's so plugged. So I know exactly what you're talking about with that.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was the most it was crazy. Like but it felt amazing. So after this happened, I had massive change in mental clarity and
Yeah.
energy. I lost my sweet tooth. I couldn't have sugar in my coffee anymore. It was like, "Oh, this is gross." Um I had, again, another I know you're going to be really shocked about this, Gary, so hang tight. I had a candida rash in between my legs for about 10 years.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like a bad one, all the bread
Yeah.
and, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah. Yeah.
sugar,
Yeah.
blah, blah, right? Huge,
Yeah.
big rash in between my legs.
Yeah.
Disappears in a week. And the other thing is that I also was a long-term migraine headache sufferer. Again,
Hmm.
shocker,
Right.
right?
Right.
Migraine headaches my whole life. No headaches. No migraine, not even a small headache. Like now I'm not even getting a migraine headache. And my life completely does a 180 in a week. Like I feel
Yeah.
so freaking good. It was like it was like a complete new lease on life. And then
Well, especially your brain. I mean, all of a sudden, your brain is getting blood, which it hasn't had in a long time because it couldn't
totally.
get through the goop, right? So not only is your colon working, your gut's working, but you're
Yeah.
actually getting blood flow to your brain, and your brain's like, "Holy crap! I can see the brain fog is going away. I mean, all
Yeah.
of this thing is clearing." And but initially, like for the first day or two, did you feel sick? Were you like nauseous or anything? Because your
Nope.
body was going through a serious cleanse.
Yo, for sure. But no, I didn't. Nope. Zero.
Wow.
It was like totally
Wow.
after I had that number two episode, I felt amazing. I felt amazing. And yeah, so the story continues now. So where my light switch came on, like my aha moment, like where it changed my life was a month later when all those people were coming back, sharing with me the same kind of story that I just said, but it could have been I had arthritis my whole life and now it's gone. I had skin issues. Look at my psoriasis, it's completely went away. Like fibromyalgia, Crohn's colitis, blood work getting better, blood pressure getting better, erectile dysfunction. I mean, a lot of high fives with the guys.
Blood
And their
flow. It's
wives.
the blood flow.
It's exactly shocker.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, but yeah, tears in their eyes, profound stories of healing on just an absolute huge magnitude. And I was like, and then so the I had a doctor show up from Qualicum Beach, was just another town in Vancouver Island. And I'm like, Dr. Rowe, like, so he came and visited the farm because his patients were taking saw the newspaper article and they're getting better. So he's like, what in the world is going on here? So he came to visit the sea farm, and I had the pleasure of spending time with him. And I'm like, Dr. Rowe, like, what is going on? Like, am I on a TV show? Like, what is this thing? And he had said, he goes, I think Tom accidentally discovered the holy grail of nutrition. He goes, phytoplankton is the first food, big game nutrition. He goes, I think what is happening is because it's so small, it is going directly into the mitochondria of the cell. It's because sometimes they block because of like, they're goopy or whatever. I'm just simplifying it. But he goes, I think that the phytoplankton is going directly into the mitochondria and awakening the mitochondria because if people are malnourished, then they get what they're missing. On the cellular level, the engine of the cell, the body can awake, and including the immune system starting to talk to each other again. And he goes, and I think it's just really that simple, is that it's pure nutrition entering the mitochondria because it's only like 1.2 microns.
Yeah.
And
I want to take you back real quick. I want to stay on the doctor, but because this is just I just won't let go out of my brain. So he takes it, he feels great. It gets in the paper. These people flood you. They're
yeah.
taking it. They feel great. They're all showing up. But in the meantime, you still have to run this oyster farm, so you're feeding the oysters. So my question is, how much of this did you have? I mean, were you prepared to go, hey, we can't keep giving it to these people. I got to feed my damn oysters. I mean, how
Uh,
much of this did you have?
Oh yeah, well he was able to grow it like commercially, right? So like the
Yeah.
thing was is that because it was not, FDA,
Right.
because here's the thing. And again, I know I'm throwing all these big shockers in here, Gary. But if you then start to like we did this kind of on a non-compliant, give this to the people kind of thing, right? And my background before that was bottled water, so like I knew a lot about like food safety and the protocols and all the regulatory and lot batches and stuff like this. There's a little bit of that in agriculture or aquaculture, but you know, but but then if you were to do it en masse or like, to now do it compliant, getting the government involved, well, guess what? That slows everything down.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Now,
investment
but if it's
and
the
the investment goes
FDA,
up, up, up.
yeah, but if
Right?
it's the FDA, it doesn't slow it down. If it's actually healthy and it's doing something good for people and Big Pharma can't make money off it, they shut it down. They don't even want you
Yeah,
doing it. So
exactly.
that's
For
a
sure.
fight
Yeah.
in itself. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
100%. But it was just more like, you know what? It was one of those things is that, and again, like I wasn't there for much longer after that because like the trajectory of my life changed. I have found my purpose in life. And he wasn't really he was there to sell oyster food, right? I was there now to change the trajectory of human nutrition. I didn't even know that I worked for pets at the time. And
That's a
he's
big
like,
step. That's a big
we're getting a
step.
little off track here, Dave.
No, that's a big step. No, but
Yeah, exactly.
that's crazy that because let's face it. I mean, what a what an incredible event, right?
Yeah.
99% of the people that I talk to go, dude, I'm looking for my passion. I wish I could find my passion. I wish I could find my special purpose. And you found yours at an oyster farm. And now you spent the next 20 years just freaking on fire trying to get this done. But so let's go back to this doctor because this is interesting. So this is
Yeah.
this doctor from this little town. So he shows up, but he
Yeah.
sounded like he was a good guy. I mean, it sounded like he got
Amazing.
it.
He totally got it. Yeah. Well, he changed. He was the guy. He was the linchpin in my grenade. Yeah.
That's awesome.
100% was because he
Is he still
explained like
involved or he's not
no,
involved?
no, no.
He's
He
not
just
involved.
his role was just to, I guess, do that to me. I
Yeah,
don't know.
to pull your lynch plig and let you go, man.
Yeah, that's right. He just completely blew my perception on everything. And that's kind of even too like so again, I worked with like digress a little bit before I get back to Dr. Rowe, but like since both my parents were government workers and my mom in the hospital specifically, they had they were let's just say this. I was told more than one time I was the most naive person in the world because I really believed that you could just take this 400 person case study, take it to the local politician, and the intention would be to help humanity.
Yeah, right.
They're like, "You're the most naive person I've ever met in my life, kid." Right? And I'm like, "What are you
But in a
talking
good,
about?"
but in a good way, David,
Very
in a
innocent.
good
I
way.
was very innocent, right? Yes. And then then of course then I found out that the world doesn't work that way.
No.
That blew my mind. So then like you have to like if you believe things are a certain way, like Santa Claus is real, and then you find out that he isn't, and that the presents came from your parents, like your life gets shattered a little bit, right? So that
Just a
that
little
took me
bit,
a
yeah.
while to process too, because then I just kind of thought like I could just go down a path of like goodness for humanity and like put this in front of the right people and the cancer research labs, and hey, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now because it would already be all throughout the whole ecosystem, right? But it doesn't
Yeah.
work like that. So Dr. Rowe also kind of helped me navigate like, hey, this isn't going to be that easy kind of thing, kind of tempered my expectations a little bit. And but you know what? I didn't care. I was like, and so, yeah, so I just,
But I mean,
was
what do you
able,
do, David? So you're standing there in an oyster farm. You've got
uh,
all these people who were initially just crying to you about how messed
yeah,
up everything was and how sick they were. Now they come to you crying how happy their husband gets a Woody in the morning and
yeah,
everything's feeling better and you're like, "Holy crap." And then the doctor shows up and goes, "Dude, you might have the Holy Grail of stuff." So you're standing there and then you've got this epiphany.
yeah,
I mean, what do you do? I mean, how do you then, besides going to a politician, which of course
yeah,
is the worst place you could go would be, but I mean, then what do you
the
do?
worst.
How do you have some sort of business acumen? Did you have a vision of what you wanted to do, or you just knew this was going to work if I could just get it out there?
Yeah, well, luckily, like I was self-employed for quite a while before then, and I had a funny enough, I had a mill. I was a partner in a shingle mill, which is like totally off thing, but like I started a bottled water company with my high school buddy. And that was the training. We actually called it Drinka Water, like a Drinka. And we trademarked the real Drinka Water. And we actually um, marketed a glacier water from a small town called Hyder, Alaska. And they had a bottled water facility there that was financed by Juneau, which is the capital of Alaska. And so we, as Canadians, were representing this small town of Alaska, and that was my and that I started that 5 years, like 5 years prior to that, started it from that idea. Um, and basically sold it to beer distributors, like health food stores and everything. And then, but I also I dealt with contract manufacturing and I also dealt with sales. So I was the sales guy. So I always said that the reason why I was able to get it to there was because of my training from the bottled water industry, because we had to deal with FDA considers bottled water food. So we had to kind of run on
Yeah.
those protocols. And so I kind of learned trial by fire on how that was doing. So the first thing that I did actually, after I decided to go on my own path, was to find a supplier of somebody that could grow phytoplankton in a controlled environment under the regulations of food. And I found them in Spain. They had it. They were growing marine phytoplankton for ornamental shellfish, or not ornamental
Let's,
shellfish. I'm sorry, ornamental aquariums. So like really fancy saltwater aquariums and
yeah.
live rock and stuff like this. So again, it was aquaculture, but um it was for very expensive fish. So I ended up getting a hold of them, and then they had all the protocols in place because they were doing very high-end protocols. Everything was really close to human grade. And so with a little bit of tweaking, so he always will tell the story about the crazy Canadian that called him and said, "Hey, I want to buy your." So how I started with, again, is that I bought the fish food off of him as fish food because I was able to isolate the strain. He was growing it. I imported it into Canada and I started to give it to people that, basically in the same way by like word of mouth, knowing some of the people that were there from before, you know, kind of like
But
get
but but
phytoplankton.
how was the oyster guy growing? How was the oyster guy growing it
He was
for the
doing it,
paste
yeah, he
for
was
the
doing it a little bit
oysters?
differently. So like the reason why I never like stayed there is because what he did is that he had a big, huge saltwater tank in the side of his property. And then what he did is he recreated the spring bloom. So phytoplankton blooms just are flowers, just like any other flower.
Hmm.
And so what happens is that you recreate the conditions that make that phytoplankton think it's going to die, which is basically raising the salt level, like is a very simplified way. So then the phytoplankton go, "Oh, I'm going to die," so then they reproduce like crazy. And then what you do is then you drain the tank with a cheesecloth on the bottom of it, and then the paste kind of lies there in the bottom. So so the reason why, like, yes, like it could have been really good and I could have stayed with that a little bit, but like it was so the investment that would have been needed to do that properly, like, and like the thing
Massive.
was too is that there was a lot of so like depending on the tide, the time of year, like it wasn't just there's not just one strain of phytoplankton. There's like maybe like 100 or 200 strain. We don't know. Well, that's the thing. We don't know. We didn't know what phytoplankton was in that batch and of how much. So then there would be irregularities on the batch, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of
So
knew
then,
this.
so the Spanish guys had more of a stable sort of source that was more consistent because they were using it in a different way. And the
Exactly.
guy was using paste. What was the Spanish people using? Was it also paste?
No, we used seed. We
It
grew it
was
from
what?
seed. They grew no, so no powder.
From
Well,
seed.
it started
Oh.
as paste, okay?
Hmm.
Like so, we grew it from seed, and then when the phytoplankton was grown, it was like a paste, very similar. But then what we did is we freeze dry it. So this is where the whole stabilization comes in. So what we sell is a powder. So what we do is we take all the moisture out of the paste down to less than 3% moisture and we freeze it at the same time. And then we take that frozen block that basically has had the moisture taken out of it, and then we grind it into a powder, which becomes shelf stable.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. So,
Yeah.
but now you've got to
And then when
come
you
up with a way.
rehydrate it, well then it basically then you rehydrate it and then all those properties are ready to be consumed.
So now you say to yourself, you go, Dave, I know the way I want to do this, but now somehow I have to come up with a big enough place to make this stuff.
Yeah.
How did you jump from Spain? Did you take their technology? Did you buy their equipment? How did you make that jump?
No, I just, you know what, I made a deal with them to be because they were just doing it for fish food at the time. And I said, well, hey, listen, like I'm gonna do this and this and this. This is a new channel for you that you never had before. I'll do the investment of making this a business and giving you a revenue stream. I negotiated with them way back in the day to be the worldwide exclusive distributor of this particular phytoplankton for human and pet nutrition. And I've
That's that's a
not,
brilliant move, my friend. That's a brilliant move. But my question is, the water in Spain is warm. The water
yes,
where you are is ice cold. Does
yes.
that make a different plankton? Does it make a different quality or?
Yeah, well, no, that's a good question, but no, the answer is that so like what we did is like I don't grow multiple strains of phytoplankton that what is whatever is in the ocean. Basically, through learning about phytoplankton, part of my journey, I guess part of my other part of my journey was learning more about phytoplankton. I became pretty much a professor of selling phytoplankton and what works and what doesn't. What are the attributes in certain phytoplanktons compared to others? And I isolated a strain called Nanochloropsis gadatana, which was the phytoplankton strain on paper looked to be the most comprehensive out of all the phytoplankton strains that were just identified and had been analyzed at the time. we've since developed more, but like at the time, and so what happened was is so then I isolated it, had it grown in Spain under my, you know, you know, whatever you call it, formula IP kind of thing, my own recipe, right? And I gave it to people in Canada after he had made it, and they were getting the same results that I had at the sea farm in Nanaimo. So my dad used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Now on your website, you've got two kinds for sale.
Yes.
You've got just I guess just the the phytoplankton, and then you've
Yes.
got another kind. Is that that other thing that I can't pronounce that you said you added to that? Or why
Yeah,
do you
well,
have
yeah,
two
that's well,
kinds
we
on
had the
there?
Microchloropsis. Well, it's called the government reclassified it as now called Microchloropsis gaditana, and then the other one is tetrasod. And then so tetrasod is another phytoplankton strain that we discovered around 2012 that we also pioneered that has the highest antioxidant activity ever discovered in any plant life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we add
Wow.
that into now. That's kind of our, but that's a very expensive one to grow and make, and it's got a patent on it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So again, we're
Now,
evolving, right?
yeah. Now people are most people, anyone who's taken a supplement is are they're pretty familiar with fish oil. We're pretty familiar with kelp powder. We're pretty much familiar with krill oil. You know, there's a lot of
Yeah.
resources that come out of the ocean. You know, obviously, fish used to be one of the healthiest things you can eat. Now, I think they're destroying a lot of the fish, but most
Yeah.
fish is the healthiest you can eat. So, how are we going to get people to understand because people didn't understand krill. Remember, I mean, it was like do fish oil tablets, and they said no, do krill. It's even better than the fish oil tablets. And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, yeah, whatever. I don't know if that even took off, but so this is a whole nother level of stuff now. This is like a whole nother level. How are we going to get people to see and understand the benefits of this?
Well, again, guess what? Guess what the krill eat in order to get the omega threes?
Plankton or photoplankton? No, I
They
don't
eat the
know.
phytoplankton. So yeah, the original
There you
form of
go.
the omega three is from the phytoplankton. Yeah. So I mean, you know what, Gary? That's this is the challenge, right? This is why we're here on the
Yeah,
podcast talking about it. It's like it. This is the grind, right?
yeah,
How do I? I mean, I'll share with you like my entrepreneurial journey. Do I sell out to a private equity company and go get $100 million and pay somebody on the news to go spread it around, or you know get on Dr. Phil, or like what, like talk, does Oprah need a phone call, like like it's like you don't know, like how do and that's the thing too. They go, well, I've had this a lot. They go, Dave, if this is so good, how come I don't know about it?
yeah,
Right, well, what would you do?
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
like
You know,
it's one, Gary, it's just one of those things, is like there's roots and then there's the tree, right?
yeah,
And if you don't have the roots, then the tree gonna fall over in the windstorm. And there's a million metaphors like that. Like again, I've been trying to solve this riddle for 20 years. And you know what? Is the one thing that I can just say is that you just got to wake up every day and take a swing at the dam with the
yeah,
sledgehammer. And you know
yeah,
what? And if the universe is gonna open it up, or if I'm ready, am I ready emotionally for that type of thing to happen? Or, is the business ready for that to happen? Because I'm still here. Like, I'm still paying my bills. Like, I've raised my kids. Like, so I've been able to raise a family, doing this business. I'm not like a multi-millionaire wealthy individual, but I'm not also not in a trailer. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I'm like
But
I've,
that's a good question though. I mean, so like you're at this conference in Vegas with all these
yeah.
people, and I think you're honestly finally in the sweet spot, Dave, because in America we're having a massive tournament. Some people could hate RFK Jr. or some people could love RFK Jr. I don't even want to get into that, but there's definitely a rebirth of people taking a look at the how bad our food is, the control of big pharma, big ag, big media here in the
Yeah.
States. And I think people are really looking for something to get healthy, right? People are making, so I think you're in the sweet spot for that. So let's say this just explodes for you, which is going to. I feel very good about this, just because I feel strongly people are going that way. Are you able to ramp up? I mean, is your business, is your company, is that Spanish company? Can you ramp up and all of a sudden blow out a couple 100 billion tablets
Oh yeah, for sure.
or
Yeah, like
powders?
we have everything again. We one thing that we have is a root system for sure. And luckily since 2005 the technology has changed quite a bit as well, like for the good, where we could emulate this indoors. We as long as we're like the strain that we're growing is an Atlantic Ocean strain. So, one of the things that we've talked about over here is about building a growing facility in the United States somewhere. All
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
So, and that's one thing with with the climate with the tariffs and all that stuff. One thing that I think which is good for America is that it's forcing people like us, like we're not going to build a growing facility in Canada. We would get a visa and we would relocate our business into America and we would invest big money building a phytoplankton facility in America.
Well, and I,
Yeah.
I think you'd be welcomed here for that because I do believe that we're seeing, like I said, a big shift in people's thoughts on this. I think people have hit the wall with their health, with their mental health, with their physical health, and what they're tired of what's happening to us in our food. And these states, there's a lot of states throwing money at businesses to get them in here to help them do something like that.
Yeah.
But I want to go back one more time, if I may. So. Is this product now, so you've taken this and now it's a powder, right? And
Mhm.
so is it sold like I mean, I looked on your website, so I know the answer to this question, but for people who haven't is like I do a lot of powders. I'm a weird guy. I take powder in that crazy shake I told you about, ashwagandha, black maca root, turmeric. I'm a powder guy. So if I added one more powder to my shelf, is that what this is? And do you have a container, you shake it up and drink it? Do you prefer people put it in a blender shake, or what's the best way to get this in our bodies?
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually just a small little spoon. It's around 350 milligrams, and you just mix it with water, and then you can chug it. If you don't like, it does taste a little bit like nori, which is like a seaweedy. If you don't like that, any type of citrus will mask it. You can put it into a smoothie. You can put it into like a shaker thing or whatever. But yeah, like that's it. It's a powder that you drink. So basically, the difference is with this is it literally is pure nutrition going into your body. That's
Yeah,
that's the big difference between this than any other powders that are on the market because this is
yeah.
the
You
comprehensive first food.
You talked about the bloom. Like I said, we're divers. And a lot of times when these blooms happen, they're not good. They're not a good
Mhm.
bloom. They're not healthy. Is there a
Yep.
difference between how what you're doing with blooms and how these other like red blooms and red seas
Yeah.
are?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, thanks for bringing that up because yeah, I get that a little bit of a lot, right? Well, I
Mhm.
just look at it this way. Yes, of course, like we're growing this in a controlled environment and we don't have that. But let me explain it like this. You have an apple tree, okay? We can all agree that apples are a fruit and that they're good and all that, right? And if you ate an apple, it's not a bad thing. It's like it's a good thing, right? But
Right.
if the apple falls off the tree and sits there and rots for a while, well, you wouldn't eat that apple. It would be considered unedible and all that. Well, does that make apples bad?
No.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's all phytoplankton is that after a period of time, if they're accumulated in an area and its life cycle is over because they don't live forever, right? Because phytoplankton accumulates in pools and then it'll slowly kind of become a mass and then it'll go to the ocean and then it'll just kind of like rot out and decompose. Yes, you don't want to eat that, but it's all part of the regenerative, like, because like just like apples, they go back into the earth and create compost and all that. So So that's kind of like people just kind of need to know that like all these big algae, red algae and all that stuff, it's the same of any fruit that falls off of a tree, right?
And I
That
and
that
I do want to go
that's all
back
it is.
one more time for everybody's listening to understand this concept because, like I said, I'm a huge ocean guy, right? But
Yeah.
for some people who've never even seen the ocean or don't eat fish or have no interest in this, what they have to understand is the product that you're talking about literally is the foundation of life for the seas and for our air and probably for humans in a lot of ways. I mean, you have to
Absolutely.
understand the chain of how the ocean works. It's like these Japanese and Chinese guys going along, taking a shark and killing hundreds of millions of sharks, and people go, "Oh, that's good because sharks are bad." It's like, no, you're completely screwing up the ecosystem of the ocean by taking out all these sharks, right? I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's there for a reason. And what you're doing with this phytoplankton, I mean, it really is the foundation for so much life. And because of that, the nutrition that's in this is incredible. And somehow you've, just by some grace of God or just by some fluke of nature, you're able to see this and go, hey, man, there's something here. And you spent 20 years of chasing this as your passion. So
Yeah.
I think people really need to understand how important that nutrient, that organism really is.
Yeah. Well, just think about it. Like whales live to be like how old? Right? Like, how big are they, right? Do you think, and they're kind of basically running off 1 degree of separation from the phytoplankton, right? So,
Yeah.
everybody, like you talked about krill oil. So everybody's eating or drinking or taking these tablets or capsules of krill oil, but krill eat the phytoplankton, right? And so that's the thing. It's like it's the krill is the middleman of it's in the middle of it where the phytoplankton is it's the beginning. It's like
Yeah.
the absolute beginning. Like whether you believe in God or evolution or Big Bang, it don't matter. There is an absolute immovable here, and the immovable is phytoplankton is the first. It's the first
Yeah.
food. It's the first form of life. It's the first form of nutrition. It sustains everything, gives us the majority of the oxygen we breathe. It is the most powerhouse, nutrient dense plant on the planet. No dispute. Like,
Yeah.
because no other plant does that. And so it's a life-giving plant. So then what happens is that, and I can't stress it enough, is that the people who take the phytoplankton, Gary, they don't come back to me, and I'm not saying 100%, okay, because I don't want to give people that false impression. But the
Yeah.
majority of people that take it, they don't just go, "Oh, it's okay. I tried that. It was okay." Like it's profound. It's like I know the day after I took it because it was the first time I've ever woken up without tingling in my hands. Like, I mean, it's like, they couldn't even stand up to do the dishes because their fibromyalgia is so bad, and now it's gone. Right? They can eat nacho chips again. Well, not that I'm advocating nacho chips, but they could do that again because the acid, because it doesn't burn in their stomach or whatever it is, right? Or they can have sexual relations with their significant other again. Like, I mean, these are the things that that you just yes, do other dietary ingredients have that type, can they do that? Yeah, of course. They're not all bad. I'm not crapping on the industry at all. One thing that I can say, the majority of the people in the industry, they care. They care about health and they want to do good and I respect that. But at the end of the day, they're all missing what the first food is, right? And I think that once they kind of like find out that the supplement industry is actually very trendy. Like so a few
Yeah.
years ago it was all about CBD. And
Vitamin
then now
E. Everyone had to mega dose vitamin E, and then it was
yeah,
vitamin C. Now they're
vitamin
talking about D.
D, and then it was
And the thing
krill
about
oil.
the thing
Yeah.
about your product that I know will happen to people, and you've probably had a bunch of people tell you, 'cause like I said, I'm a supplement guy, and I did run into a fella who was like pretty much making stuff in his garage for a while. came up with this a protein powder that had a lot of great natural nutrition. I tried it and I loved it, and I still bought it. And I'm going to try your product too because I believe in it. But the thing that I think what his product did for me and what I know your product is going to do for me, and I've told people this, is I went to my big old box of supplements that I take every day and said, don't need this, don't need that, don't need this one. So
Yeah.
not only did I simplify my life and feel better, but I saved a bunch of money by getting rid of a bunch of crap that I no longer need. So taking your product, you go, oh God, that's pricey or whatever. I don't think your product's pricey, but you go, look, the supplements that you can now remove if you're taking other ones from your routine is going to pay for this by itself because you won't need those anymore. This will replace those in a better, healthier way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we get a lot of that too, right? Because then they try it and then it works and then they go, well, can I take this with that? And then it's like, hey, everybody has their own I find their little formula, I guess, their own personal thing. It's even for me, right? Like I might take like a probiotic or like an ashwagandha or something like that too, right? Like, because I care about my health too. Like I'm really into more about what I eat now and I'm very conscious about that and all that. And we all have our little, I guess, concoction, I guess, to a certain degree, right? But I think the difference is with this is phytoplankton is the foundation. Like if you take phytoplankton, now you have your base, right? Every good thing is built on a good foundation, right? So phytoplankton is the foundation. You start with your phytoplankton, and if you want to add your vitamin D because you live in the north, or you want to add your probiotics or your shilajit mushrooms or lion's mane or whatever, fill your boots or do a protein
Yeah.
shake. Like even for me, like before I go to the gym, I have my almond milk, my protein powder, I'll throw a little bit of phytoplankton in it, kind of thing, right? Like to, kind of get ready, like have like a few carbs in it. You know what I mean? Because like I'm kind of more on a low carb kind of thing right now, not necessarily keto, but I'm kind of more, I used to have like 300 to 400 probably halfway through the day. Now if I get my carbs, it's from like carrots and broccoli and like natural
It's
sources,
not
you
it's
know what I
not
mean?
like that big bowl of honeycomb cereal where we'd eat an entire box of honeycomb cereal in the morning.
Um,
That's not those
I,
carbs.
I, I was the Count Chocula guy.
Oh, the Count
I
Chocula.
was Count
Gotcha.
Chocula. Why do I
I
have
was
this
I was
headache, Mom?
I was Captain Crunch. I just I couldn't help it. But
Hey,
you're awesome, David.
we all
I
did it.
think you're
We all
great.
did it.
Yeah, I just I'm fascinated by this. There's so much, more we could cover. You've got so much going on. But um so I asked you the what if you could question out the gate because I said I
Yeah.
had one question, but I lied because I'm a liar. Um I actually have a second question, and then I want to find out about the rest of this stuff. But my last question before we sign off and talk about where we can find you and all that stuff is what's the last thought you have for everybody? If like there's a last thought that David had that said, this means a lot to me. This is a fortune cookie I read somewhere, or this is a saying I have on my wall, or this is just something that means a lot to me about where I am right now. What would that last thought be for everybody?
Jeez. Well, I think that I mean, I think like our company mission is that everybody needs to try phytoplankton at least once. I think that that is pretty much sums it up. It's just like, you hear this, we always say that the best case scenario is you're going to have a life-changing experience, and the worst case scenario is you'll get your money back because we back it up. And it's just one of those things. It's like, if they're listening to the podcast and they just give it a try, you know what I mean? Like there's because this thing is just not a good supplement that, you're going to get your bromelain or whatever. Like this could be something that could really, really profoundly change your life. Because if you are missing something and you don't know what it is, then you're going to get it, right? And that's really
That's
just
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
really our mission is that we just want to get people to just try it at least once, and we'll let the product do the talking after that.
Well, that's awesome. And, all I could just keep visualizing a whale shark, which is one of my favorite creatures. The whale shark just swimming through the ocean with his huge mouth open, right? And it's just sucking all of the plankton and phytoplankton and the krill. And it's just this massive creature that lives forever. And it just lives off of that. I mean, it just lives off of that. It's not eating anything else, and it's super healthy. It's massive. It lives forever. So if it's good enough for a whale shark, it's good enough for me.
Oh, 100%. Well, even I'll take it a little bit of a small step further is like I kind of talked about a little bit. If you don't, even if the people who are listening, if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your dog. Like if you
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm telling you, man, the amount of dog recoveries that like we get with people with seniors' dogs, then the dogs, the hips are given out and Rover's not running around and he's a low energy and all that other stuff. Because we all know too, the pet food has been compromised, just like the regular food. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for Rover. Because I tell you what, we have seen so many senior dogs that are just they think they're on their way out and they give them the phytoplankton and they just bounce right back. And they get
Is
them
it the
for another
same? Is it
couple.
the same stuff that
Yeah,
you and I take?
yeah, exactly. It's the same one. There's a
Hmm.
pet formula that we have that has a little bit of the high antioxidant stuff in it as well and everything too. But like it you could just take it for yourself, but like you just, I mean, I give it to my cat, but like, but most people are dog people, that's the bigger market. But like, sometimes people want their cats to go.
I'm not gonna give anything to my wife's cat. My new wife brought a cat, and I'm like, dude, when does the cat leave? I mean, I'm not. I'm a dog person. I'm not a cat person. Unless I'm eating a treat, then she has to come up to me and ask for some of it.
Yeah,
But
of
so
course, but that's
that's yeah, she's just horrible that way. So that's interesting. So this will work. Well, I guess anything is. Like you said, they've completely destroyed pet food. It's so unhealthy. I'd
nutrition is
imagine.
universal. Nutrition is
Yeah,
universal.
yeah,
And then,
yeah,
the dog gets the phytoplankton. I've like, and even too, of whether they're shedding all the time. Like, so a lot of the shedding is because of the nutrition, their energy levels. Like, if they're going to the vet all the time, like, it's like, oh, stomach issues or the dog's throwing up or, it's like, it's all most of the time nutrition based, right? Like,
yeah.
we have to be the dog's nutritionist, right? Like, like whatever we give them is what they're going to deal with, right? And dog food's expensive, man. Crazy,
And
right?
it's
But like,
so
yeah, but you
bad.
sprinkle a little bit of the phytoplankton on there, save you some vet bills, and watch your seeing your dog bounce right back. And then we always say, then when you see your dog bounce back, then realize that that could happen to you, right?
Hey, if it worked, if phytoplankton worked for Fido, it's good enough for me. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
that's right,
And
right? So
and
yeah,
the,
I
the
just
the truth of the matter is, we used to just make stew for dinner and give the same stew to our dogs with carrots and peas and
yeah,
dogs love all that stuff. And then all of a
yeah,
sudden we decided to give them this depleted, dried garbage filled with who knows what's in it. It's like, yeah. So I could imagine this would be super
yeah.
good for the pups.
Oh
But
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I say. Just if you do, everybody doesn't want to do it for themselves, but at least do it for your dog.
So David, where do we find you? Where do we go? Where do we get more of David Hunter? Where do we get more of is the company Global Phytoplankton?
Yes, so that is the like that is my personal brand. Yes, that like so that's the one that we personally sell to people. So like if anybody's yeah, so I mean we have yeah, like obviously global and then phytoplankton is PHYTO plankton. But we have also a domain that's a little bit easier for things like this if they're listening. It's usagpa.com. So that would be another one like that they can go to usagpa.com, but our global phytoplankton and that's where yeah, I mean, we've got blogs on there. We have an on-staff doctor, nutritionist, digestion specialist that the reason why she's on board is because similar to the doctor I talked about on Vancouver Island, gave it to her patients and watched them do a big 180 and went like, what is this? You know?
What is
And
it?
so it's just,
So I've been,
one at a time.
yeah, I've been to your website. It's a great website. It's got a lot of information, and then you can find the product on there to buy also. Um, so you're doing well in Canada. You're in Costco's and stuff like that, which is a pretty big haul.
Yeah.
Um, how is it going in the USA? Are you getting this stuff down here in the USA?
Oh yeah. 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 Like, yeah, no, we actually have a pretty good, we have a good, it's only 2 years old in the United States. And but like we're not going to go to the big box stores anymore. They
Mm,
just there's just way too many. Remember I talked to you about that 8 times markup?
yeah,
There's just way too many layers in there and programs
yeah.
and like that's not going to happen. Like that, there's just so much more money. Like we're just, what, we're just doing things like this and getting the word out and we're just taking the one person at a time. Like we're trying to partner with other dietary supplement ingredients. So that's kind of our strategy right now. And like I don't want to build a big huge supplement business, to be honest. I'd probably be like it hits a certain point and I get enough people doing it, I'd probably end up selling it, because like it's just kind of a necessary thing right now because just like the universal for nutrition is also for a business is cash flow. So so you want to keep the cash register ring because like when you get a new dietary supplement business, even when they say yes, there's so much onboarding. It can take
Yeah.
almost like between 9 to 14 months to get a new company up and running, right? So time is your enemy, so you have to, pay your bills and survive until that happens, right?
We all know how that is, that's for sure. Anyone who's started a business, like I've started a couple, yeah, it's that's why most businesses don't make it out 2 years. If you can make it 5 years, you're killing it. But you've been going at it for 20 years, my friend.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's time for this to take off. And like I said, I truly believe, David, you're in the sweet spot, especially here in the United States. There's a big turning towards health here in the United States, and people are searching for different ways to become healthy and fix their mind and fix their body. So I think the timing's really good for you to get here in the States and blow this up because
Yeah.
it's certainly necessary, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. You know what? I think one thing I love about the United States, and what I kind of admire about the country is that, you get the right people like kind of behind it or to identify it or discover it. Like there's it's a lot more entrepreneurial friendly, the country, I find, than Canada. And I just feel that like if things kind of hit in the right direction, they can go in the right direction really fast in the United States.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm kind of just hoping for is that, the right person, right company, it's always that, what that I always say the digestive system of money is always a group of people, right? The
Yeah.
consumer being the last, but it's the idea guy, and then it's the farmer, the marketer, the distribution agent or the trucking company. Like it's always these touch points of people to get to the end person, which would be phytoplankton in the stomach. And I think that that's kind of my missing link or links right now is just, I'm just grinding it out. And, I have my case study from Canada, but I'm kind of just missing those strategic people right now.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm just trying to
Do you
manifest.
have you heard of a young man named John Brink, Brink?
No, I
Well,
haven't.
you're going to have to look up John Brink. He's got a podcast also. He's 85 years old. He's
Okay.
like Mr. Universe. He just put one of his podcasts of him working out at Gold's Gym. He's a health
Amazing.
nut. He's became a vegetarian at like 68 or something like that. So look up John Brink, and maybe
Okay.
I'll hook you up through email with him. Go on his podcast, but also say, John, I want you to put this out here because he's loaded. I don't mind saying that on a recording. He's the greatest guy in the world. He's got an amazing story being an immigrant coming over here with nothing, building this conglomerate now
Yeah,
in
amazing.
St. George. I think it's St. George, right above Vancouver. He's in Canada also.
Oh, and
And
Prince George, you mean?
in what?
Yeah, Prince George.
Yeah, Prince George. And he's a wonderful guy, super healthy, believes in health, and he might just try some of this stuff and go, this is the greatest stuff in the world and get involved with you. So look for
Yeah,
Mr.
interesting.
John
Yeah.
Brink. He's a good
Okay, well,
guy.
thank you, Gary. I
And
appreciate
he's
that.
a
But yeah,
fellow,
that's the type of things, that's it's always, sometimes just a few degrees of separation, right?
always can
And
change the
I've
world,
always kind of
man.
felt that.
Yeah. It can change the world just by, the right little connection. So, all right, my friend, everybody, you have had the joy of spending a little time with Mr. David Hunter. He is going to get you on his phytoplankton. This stuff is amazing. It is the source of all life. You've got to go to his website, which is
USAGPA.com.
there it is, usagph.com. Look into
Yeah.
the stuff. Get yourself a little jar. See if it works for you. Like I said, just try it. And when you feel amazing like he did, you're going to want to come back. So, Mr. David Hunter, you've been amazing. I wish you all the best. I'm going to hook you up with Mr. John Brink, and I know that's going to be a good thing.
Awesome. Fantastic.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.